I guess Joel Embiid has brought the Sixers back into the conversation today. Why? I don't know. Because nobody knows. Phillies, did they win? They did. There was some good last night for sure. Will I be positive about the Phillies today? And Eagles news, whatever you want to talk about Eagles related, it's on the table. Trending in the AM, we're live, taking your thoughts and opinions on everything in 30 seconds.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 woo!
And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. Please do me that favor, smash that like button, Hulk, smash that subscribe button, and share it out. 18 subscribers away from 500. Can we get there today? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see if the Joel Embiid surgery news breaks the algorithm today. That gets me to my first big goal of 500 subscribers here, guys. It's greatly appreciated. Whatever you do, I appreciate it. Guys, I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, bringing you this great show every single morning. Trying to help you have a spot to vent, to talk, to discuss all the trending topics in Philadelphia. So let's get started. There's three things that are on the table today. Obviously, always the Eagles are in the conversation. What to do with Dallas Goedert? Phillies, did they win last night? They did. Does Zach Wheeler deserve MVP along with his Cy Young consideration? The dude is pretty damn special. And there was some good and some bad with the bats. We'll get into that. But breaking news late yesterday, it was reported by Shams and confirmed by the Sixers that Joel Embiid is going to have arthroscopic knee surgery next week. For what kind of surgery? For what injury? For what problem? How invasive? How not invasive? But we do know he's having surgery. And we'll reevaluate him in 6 weeks. Like, what the hell are they doing? Can they not just tell us what's wrong with the knee? Haven't we suffered enough to deserve some transparency of why the surgery didn't happen sooner? Don't we deserve to know a little bit more? Do they think we don't realize arthroscopic knee surgery is like such a vague term that could mean anything? We don't know what's damaged. We don't know what they're repairing. We don't even know if they know. So the question is, A, why did this take so long to happen? Question B is, why won't they tell us anything? And C, I don't know if this is a question more than a statement, who's with me assuming that they're just going to run it back again? And then come October 1st, we will be told by Nick Nurse, well, Joel Embiid's still ramping up to his playing days. I've never been more frustrated with a team in Philadelphia sports than the current iteration of the Philadelphia 76ers. The 1991 Phillies team didn't frustrate me this much. Let pick a random Eagles team from their bad days. What was that, 91 with the Eagles? Didn't frustrate me this much. The 10-win 2014 Sixers did not frustrate me this much. They have no clue how to be honest with their fans. And fans deserve to revolt. And fans deserve more information. Do not fall for the Sixers fans. This is an omission of key facts. He makes a full recovery in his new baseline. Shame on whoever is allowing themselves to be told otherwise. We don't know anything. Good morning, Doc. He will not be the same nor play at that level again with that surgery. What surgery? We don't know what they're fixing with that surgery. They're just giving you a very vague description of what they're doing. Rojas is platoonable. That's my takeaway. Everything else we've seen the movie. Yeah, with the Phillies, the good was Zach Wheeler. The good were some of the runs that they scored. The bad was the fact that they had the bases loaded. in the 5th inning with no outs and struck out 3 straight times. So a lot of the same and some new. We'll have to see, whether they can build upon it. No GM or team will tell you exactly what surgery a player is having. They will send it his representation. What surgery a player is having. They will send it his representation. Well, no. But when somebody tears an ACL or has an MCL sprain that needs repaired, we know specifically what ligament or part of the knee is, in trouble. When somebody's having Tommy John surgery, we know what the problem is. Arthroscopic knee surgery is so blatantly, widely, covers such a big blanket, which tells me, realistically, because they don't know what's wrong with him. So they're going to go in there, they're going to explore around, they're going to tinker around and see what the problem is, and then make that decision on the thing. But just tell us that. We still don't know what's wrong. If you would just say we don't know what's wrong with his knee, we're going to go in there and check it out, and then figure it out once we check it out, at least then we'd get some honesty. But Daryl Morey, when we hear now, 4 NBA players stand out and say we do not trust Daryl Morey. Us fans can't trust him because they don't tell us anything. He lies to our faces on a regular basis. What's up, Zach? How you doing? They don't tell you because they want you to buy tickets. Oh, absolutely. We don't agree a lot lately on certain things, but we agree on this. The whole way they've managed this entire season. Hell, they're still trying to tell us that maybe one of the last home games that Tyrese Maxey might suit up. What would be the point of that? Other than to sell tickets. It's all about the money with Josh Harris and Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey has been taught and told by Josh Harris, do whatever you got to do to make us as much money. That's it. Don't run this team to win a championship. Run this team to turn a big profit on the P&L statement at the end of the year. And that's what he's doing. That's why going to next season, we're still going to have no idea because they're just going to ramp it up and they're going to tease us. But we all know Joel Embiid ain't going to be the same. I know I'm shocked the Sixers are not being transparent with information as well. Shocked. I'm not shocked that they're not being transparent. But Big Al, don't you think we deserve some level of transparency for what we've put up with this year, what we've put up for the last decade? I think we deserve it. I think we deserve the right to know whether they know one way or another. We deserve to know. I hope the surgery is to get better now so that another team will trade for him in the offseason. Please, look, who's going to trade for somebody with that kind of money after he pretty much didn't play this whole year and now is having surgery? Steven, the chance to trade Joel Embiid is gone. Like, if they get the number 1 overall pick, maybe you can attach that to Joel Embiid and get rid of him. But outside of that, nobody's taking on Joel. You got a better chance of trading Paul George. But what we'll be told is, we're running it back because we're going to get Joel Embiid healthy. Paul George is going to have an offseason to get healthy. Maxey will be ready to go. McCain will be back. We developed Quentin Grimes and Yabusele. We try to retain him. We're going to be told that that's going to fix it all. And there will be a portion of Sixers fans that will buy it. I already see the younger upstart media people out there trying to put out tweets that, oh, man, this surgery, once he gets healthy, next year's team is going to be stacked. Nobody's going to want to mess with the Sixers. Clueless people on social media still buying the shit that the Sixers are shoveling in their face. And I won't stand for it. I won't. I'll continue to call them out. And at some point, 20, 30 days from now, I'll stop making my call out Josh Harris videos. Maybe I'll shift them a little bit. Change the topic. Let me tell you something. It's clueless. And anybody that puts serious hard-earned dollars into supporting the Philadelphia 76ers, serious, committed time to support the Sixers, is just handing them money, and they're going to continue to do it. To the naked eye, Rojas looks as fast as Roman Quinn. Roman Quinn. We had a lot of hype for Roman Quinn, too. Look, Rojas had some nice at-bats last night. His bunt single was a very good hit last night. Yeah. Look, Rojas, I don't know if Rojas is an everyday player. He might be a platoon guy like you stated. I'm not really sure. We still don't have enough data on him. NBA is unwatchable. It's a broken product. The NBA is a broken product. It's unwatchable. Sure. The Sixers, though, aren't broken. They're broken gives you the idea that it's fixable. The Sixers are not fixable. The Sixers are leave them at the end of your driveway with a sign free on it and hope someone comes and takes your trash. That's what the Sixers are. The Sixers are an organization and a team that can't be fixed unless drastic change happens. And we're working on draft coverage. We've been putting it out there little by little. Maybe we'll do a mock draft on Friday. We've talked a lot of football this week, Memphis Showboats. We have. You just haven't been around for it. We are. We're 18 subscribers away, 482 to start the show. Let's go. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. Forget about trading Joel. Nobody's taking Paul George contract. I think there will be a smidge, not a great return market, but there will be a market for Paul George if the Sixers are willing to consider it, which I don't know if the Sixers will be willing to consider it because they're going to try to sell it that that's how you win. When in reality, it's not. But I think there'll be a team, a team out west, Golden State maybe the Lakers, that will trade you a heavily protected first-round pick or some combination of pick swaps to take Paul George's contract off our hands. So I think if they wanted to, they would have to swallow their pride in the process, but I think there'd be a market. What we deserve is proper ownership. We deserve better talent evaluation. We deserve better coaching. We deserve a lot, but we won't get it with the current regime. I agree. 100%, Big Al. We deserve all that. But because Josh Harris don't care, why should we? It's pathetic the way the organization is run. Phil, live stream Phillies will be fire. Yeah, I've just had a very busy last week and a half at the pizza shop. Sometime next week, we'll try to do a live stream of a Phillies game. We will, I promise. Who would even touch Embiid after this mess of a season and a surgery for a hip and ankle at his age? Yeah. There's no way that you can move Joel Embiid at this point. What's up, Joe? Good morning to you. Rob said it in his press after the game that was Rojas' best game. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, I mean, it's not saying much that last night was his best game, but he did his job. He performed well. He got an opportunity to start, gave Brandon Marsh the night off, and he took advantage of his opportunity. That's all you can ask of a bench guy, take advantage of his opportunities when given to him. And if he keeps it up, Brandon Marsh, the everyday center fielder, will be back to a platoon guy in a very short period of time. But that's absolutely correct. My big issue from last night's Phillies game was striking out 3 times in a row with the bases loaded and no outs. That just screams 2023, 2024 all over again. Morey needs to go. He's got to be the worst GM in the city, maybe the worst GM in the NBA. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that I could disagree with this statement. Question is, does Josh Harris even know that Daryl Morey's the worst GM in the NBA? Does Josh Harris know he's the most overhyped GM in the NBA? Are you you think a team will give us our first round pick? I didn't say give up like a good first round pick. I didn't. But I think there's a scenario where a team will take Paul George and we'll give you our first, but if it lands in the top 20, you don't get it. Or I'll take, a pick swap. Like, hey, in 2028, if our pick's worse than your pick, you get it. Something like that. There's some form of a pick swap / very heavily protected first that could happen. Hell, at this point, I would take 2 second-round picks for it. I'll take 1 second-round pick to get off that contract, Zach. And there will be a team that thinks he's the missing piece to get them over the hump next year. So I don't think they will trade him. I think there will be a market to trade him if they want. I don't think he wants to be here. Well, we know that. We were his 4th option. He wanted to stay with the Clippers. He wanted to go to Golden State. He wanted to go to the Lakers. He's a West Coast guy. He wants to be a West Coast guy. There will be a team out there that offers us something. Sacramento would consider it probably. At least it would put him back in California. So I think there will be some form of market. It won't be a return. Like, what did the Oklahoma City Thunder give up to get him that 1 year? A boatload of picks. It ain't going to be something like that. No lie, I never heard of the Rockies bullpen pitchers, especially the one that threw a meat straight fastball to Sosa. Yeah, look, I'm not jumping up and down that the Phillies are 4-1. I'm also not hating on them for it. I'm looking at their first 5 games for what they are. The Phillies are beating up on 2 of the worst teams in baseball. Next we got this weekend the Dodgers. That's when the real things happen. Shohei Ohtani with a walk-off home run last night in the 9th inning. How is Shohei Ohtani not drawing walks at a level of Barry Bonds back during his real 70 home run prime, his steroid prime? Why would you pitch to Shohei Ohtani in the 9th inning with a chance to walk it off? Like, seriously, I would take my chances with every other star player on the Dodgers team other than Ohtani. But that's when we really start to, this weekend is when we start to really learn what this Phillies team is. We'll learn a little bit whether they really have a chance at a World Series. What do they do with Sosa? Man is red hot. Is it time to get Turner out? No, see, I didn't have time to go through the Sosa splits. But this was conversed about last year early in the season. There was maybe not early. There was a stretch last year in the first half of the season where everybody was red hot hyped about Edmundo Sosa and how he should be an everyday player. I think they even talked about giving him outfield, reps last year and then again in camp. And then after about a 3-week stretch of Edmundo Sosa being red hot, he leveled back out. Sosa's a great bench bat to have, a great guy to fill in to give guys days off, a great guy to fill in if an injury happens. But I think if you played Edmundo Sosa 140, 155 games, 140, 150 games a year, the holes in his game would be exposed. I think he's an average guy at best when he's an everydayer. He did. I mean, Bryce Harper, Alec Bohm, and Kyle Schwarber didn't when they had their opportunity to blow the game wide open in the 5th inning. They all came up small. Sosa came up big in that moment. Yohan Rojas laid down 2 very good bunts last night. That was missing from his game last year. I was listening to the one bunt. I forget which one it was. I was driving home from work during that part of the game, Nooms. It was right around 8 o'clock. And Fransky and I don't even remember who was on with Fransky last night. They were was it Stocker, I think, last night, talking about his technique in bunting last night. He was bunting to bunt, not to get a single. He waited till the ball hit, he waited to run, is the way Fransky said it, until the bunt was laid down instead of trying to drag it. And that was the proper technique, because you weren't trying to bunt for a single, you were trying to bunt to sacrifice there. And you just happened to beat it out. So that was very good technique there, and something that he's learned. Josh Harris does not care about the team. He cares about the Commanders team. Zach, you are 1,000% correct. But as long as Josh Harris is the owner of the Sixers are doomed to fail as an organization. Now, we might be able to push hard to get a new GM or a new coach, but we're not going to convince Josh Harris to sell the team. He's not going to do it. So we are doomed for a disaster after disaster as long as Harris is in charge. Well, you just have to hope one day he wakes up and says, I don't want this team anymore. It's just not going to happen. It's why I have zero faith, Zach, that he'll fire Daryl Morey. Or he'll tell Daryl Morey, you got to get this, and this done. I have zero faith in Josh Harris to do the first simple step, which is fire Daryl Morey. And then see what happens. That's the only way I'll have any bit of optimism towards the Sixers offseason is if Daryl Morey gets fired whenever I think the 13th is the last game of the year for the Sixers. 12th, 13th of April. So we're literally 10 days away. The only chance of any optimism from me is him getting canned. Phillies beat the teams they're supposed to beat. Yeah, they did. Good. I'm glad they did. Glad they did. Now we get the real test this upcoming weekend. I mean, at least they're not doing things to give the game away like the Girardi Phils. Absolutely. They're taking advantage of the bullpens they're supposed to. They're getting enough big hits to get the wins. Schwarber did not come up small yesterday. I didn't say he came up small yesterday. I said he came up small in the 5th inning. Okay? They had the bases loaded, no outs. Bryce Harper up, struck out. Bohm came up, struck out. Kyle Schwarber struck out. 3 straight strikeouts. So I didn't say he came up small in the game. Details matter, Rick. He came up small with the bases loaded in a key spot. My worst nightmare is the Sixers win the lottery, get Cooper Flagg, and Morey just runs it back for the 2026. No, my worst nightmare is they get the 4th or 5th pick, they take whoever and run it back. Because Cooper Flagg at least would bring some hope. At least they could sell us that Cooper Flagg's the answer and the future. You can't sell me on whoever the 5th best pick in the draft is and running it back. But that's what they're going to do. Your nightmare is going to become reality. They're going to say he's having surgery. He's going to be healthy. Paul George will be healthy. Maxey will be healthy. McCain will be back. They are going to sell you on this team's health is going to be the difference next season. But what's going to happen is, come October 1st, Ives, we're going to be told by Nick Nurse, well, he's still ramping up Joel. We'll reevaluate it in 6 days. It's going to be the same nightmare next year. And the year after that, and the year after that, until Josh Harris does what's necessary and fires Daryl Morey. Braves bullpen is completely cooked. What are the Braves now? 0-6, 0-7? Like, the Braves are looking, things could be worse in Philadelphia. For the Phillies. We could be the Braves. Yeah, we got to love the Braves matchup right now. I don't know why the Braves are losing so much right now. I don't know. I mean, obviously they had the one suspension and stuff like that. But outside of that, I'm not sure what the deal is. I haven't paid attention to the Braves just yet, other than their record. That's baseball. Striking out 3 straight guys in a row, your 3 biggest hitters in a row with the bases loaded, that's baseball. That's the Philadelphia Phillies baseball. I won a bet with my son yesterday when I told him the Phillies wouldn't score in the 5th. Yeah, I mean, you kind of had a feeling of that. Hopefully you made him pay up. Details do matter, and the details tell me the Phillies are one of the best teams in the NL. Never said they weren't one of the best teams. I know people bitch about postseason, but got to enjoy the regular season. See, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine. I enjoyed watching the Phillies game last night. I gave fist pumps while I was watching the TV last night, Rick. But I'm also not going to trick myself into assuming that this team is going to flip a switch and all of a sudden be great in the playoffs. If the Sixers get the 5th pick, I kind of like the idea of trading back and accumulating assets for a full-blown rebuild. Yeah, like I know of 2 or 3 guys that I kind of like in this draft. Obviously, Cooper Flagg. I would love an athletic wing. But if you get the 5th or 6th pick, say, do you trade back? Do you attach that pick to Joel Embiid or Paul George if that would entice somebody to take one of those 2 contracts off your hands? But the thing is, guys, I don't want Daryl Morey making these decisions. I don't trust Daryl Morey to make these decisions. The dude can't even tell us what kind of surgery Joel Embiid's having or what he's having the surgery for. Daryl Morey is not just, it's not just me saying I don't trust him. It's not just the fans. When you have now up to 4 NBA players that say they do not trust Daryl Morey, what more evidence do you need that this guy's got to go? I can make an argument that Sam Hinkie deserves a job in the NBA as a GM more than Daryl Morey. How can he get blacklisted, kicked out of the league, but Daryl Morey keeps getting praised as this great GM? Because there are still people out there that have faith in Daryl Morey. Who did the Braves play? I don't know. Like I said, I haven't paid attention to the Braves at all. I just see the record. Is it the Dodgers they played? Y'all bitch about the Phillies like they're the Flyers. That's it. No. What have I said bitching wise? I've openly complimented their performance last night. I mentioned that one inning did not go well and was eerily similar. I'm hyping up Zach Wheeler's not just a Cy Young candidate, but potentially an MVP candidate because he's that damn good. There's been no negative about the Phillies today. Really feels like the Dodgers are in the beginning of one of the best seasons of all time. It does. And I just don't understand. I watch a home run clip of Shohei Ohtani hitting a walk-off home run in the 9th inning last night. And it just boggles my mind that dude doesn't get walked more. I think I saw that he walked like 141 times last year. I'm telling you something. If I was a manager of a baseball team and say we were winning a game 4-2, the bases are loaded, and there's one out. Shohei Ohtani's up to the plate. I walk in a run instead of pitching to Shohei Ohtani. That's the respect that I would show Shohei Ohtani. He is that damn good. He might be already one of the top 5 baseball players of all time. That's how special that kid is at the plate. Sad but true. It's true that you can't trust the guy. You can't trust the guy. And sad but true that the Dodgers are that special. We know that the Phillies will be great in the regular season, but we know what they need to succeed in the playoffs and haven't shown it. That's all it is. It's being realistic. Being realistic, Doc. Realistic has been confused with negative. It's not just Daryl Morey. It's also got to be Josh Harris and, good Lord, the entire medical staff, which is without a doubt. Yeah, absolutely. Worse than all sports, yeah. Josh Harris doesn't know. Josh Harris doesn't care. Josh Harris is focused on the Commanders. The only hope, and I don't even know why he'd want the job, is that Josh Harris says, you know what, you're fired, Daryl Morey. Bob Myers, it's your job. Or Bob Myers, you're now the president of the team. You pick the GM if you don't want to do the day-to-day stuff. But I don't have the faith in Josh Harris to fire the guy that we don't trust. So we don't trust Daryl Morey. We don't have faith in Josh Harris. It's pretty pathetic. Bring back Sam Preach. Look, I'm not saying I want Sam Hinkie back here, but if we're going to enter a new process era, why not? I still feel bad that Sam Hinkie didn't get to see it through. I still feel bad that Sam Hinkie's been blackballed by the NBA for monetizing losing. But yet somebody like Daryl Morey, who's not won a goddamn thing, who's lied to his players countless times, gets praised as this elite executive. Phillies have been pulling hard outside pitches. That's not common. Hopefully that's just good anticipation and not some binocular bit. I don't know. Braves played the Dodgers and the Padres, I think. I thought they were the Dodgers is one of them. So where we've played two of the worst teams in baseball, they've played two of the better teams. One of the best teams in baseball. Dodgers will lose in the first round of the playoffs. Bank it. That's just over optimistic. I might be a Negadelphian, but you're over the top Optadelphian. Okay? You got your blinders on that. Schedule loss today with I forgot. Bleepity bleep. Where's the dump button? I almost dropped an F-bomb, Joe. I totally forgot. Now my mood's been really ruined. Today is a Taiwan Walker day. It's a 1 p.m. start, and it's a Taiwan Walker game. Why'd you have to ruin my morning, Joe? Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Rick is something. I love it. Best record in MLB doesn't usually win the championship. It's true. It's true. The NL West is solid this year, but the AL Central ain't as bad as its start. I don't even know what's going. I'm focused on my Phillies, and their opponents. I haven't really looked at the AL Central just yet. When do we get the 2025 Phil mock draft? Do you want another mock draft, K1? We will do a mock draft on Friday, okay? I had a show set up for today. Then the Joel Embiid news made me change that to tomorrow and, talk a little bit about the Sixers to start this show. We will do a mock draft tomorrow on Friday morning show. All right, I got you. Great draft test. I hope we get one of them. For the NBA, for the Sixers, yeah, I mean, I know, obviously, Cooper Flagg. I know Ace Bailey. Do you consider drafting the top center to replace Joel? I know in this draft class, we're not getting Cooper Flagg. We're probably not getting Ace Bailey. I want wherever we pick, 4, 5, 6. I want whoever the best athletic wing there is that can run, that can shoot, that can play defense. I need the next best great running gun 3-and-D athletic wing. That's what I need. And I don't know who that's going to be at 4, 5, or 6. But that's what I need. That's what I want. And what Duck wants, I want Sam Hinkie back because he had a plan. Didn't realize the NBA front office overreacting to something that has been done. You know what's funny? We monetized the process, the tanking. And we got penalized by being forced to kick Sam Hinkie out, right? We created a play in football that's unstoppable, and we've monetized it by putting tush push on shirts, brotherly shove, phrasing, trademarked. And the NFL is trying to ban that play. Before long, the NFL is going to try to kick Howie Roseman to the curb, ban him from football. It's funny, when the Philadelphia sports teams do something, do it well, and find a way to profit off of it, everybody else tries to copy. Because let me tell you something, the process is being copied all across the NBA. They're just not monetizing it. The tush push has been copied, just unsuccessfully, everywhere else. The world just hates, not just teams and leagues, the world hates Philadelphia. Plain and simple. And they're going to do everything they can to keep us quiet and keep us down. I'm off on the 17th and 21st if you're looking for a guest to talk NFL draft. The 21st is the day after Easter. I know that. And the 17th that's the Thursday before Easter. Gotcha. You'll have to text me, Dodge. I'm not going to remember a comment from this show. Unfortunately, Sam Hinkie was too inexperienced with agents and job basics to ever be back. Yeah, I think that there could have been a room to bring him back in a president format where you give him a GM who knows how to deal with the agents and stuff like that, and let him put the big picture in play. Everyone's 2-4 in the Central. Gotcha. I draft Cotman in a heartbeat. I don't even know who that is. Maluch? Is that how you say his last name? Maluch? I only know 2 names in the draft right now. Flagg and Bailey. They're the only 2 names I know so far. But when we get close to that point, I'll start. Once I know we get to keep our draft pick dives, then I'll start looking. But I still don't trust that the NBA will even remotely give us that pick. But that's just me. Hinkie is a Morey disciple. Why do we want Danielson when we already have Mr. Miyagi? I know he learned from Morey, but did he really learn from Morey? Because Morey has no idea what he's doing. Hinkie had a plan. Ace Bailey is talented, but more of a 3-and-D guy than he is a superstar. He can't create his own shot, but super young. Well, you give me a 3-and-D guy, pair him with Maxey and McCain, and you got a young core there. 2 guys that can get to the rim and dish out. And you need a defensive stalwart with 2 small guys in the backcourt in McCain and Maxey. And I'm going to throw this out there. I already gotten some criticism for this. I know a lot of Sixers fans that are still watching and hyping up Justin Edwards, hyping up Quentin Grimes, hyping up all these young guys. And all I've done is ask a question. How many of these young guys, the Grimes of the world, are actually real legit NBA players? And how many of them are just the Tony Rotens of the world? How many of them are the James Andersons, Hollis Thompsons of the world? How many of them are just G-Leaguers that are putting up numbers on a bad team. And I think the answer is more than you realize. I still want to see juicy spots. It's still written here in my notes. I had a rough day yesterday. Couldn't get to it yet. RN, right now, Ask Ventura Crack Detective is way better. Watch the. Oh my God, I don't even want to know where you find Ask Ventura Crack Detective. Where you find that? My initial rankings would be Flag, Harper, Malouche, Ingham, and then maybe we talk about Ace Bailey. Boom bust about him. Okay, all right. Well, then if at 5 or 6, then Ace Bailey might be there. But all the mocks that I've seen so far has Ace Bailey as number 2 or 3 going. Tony Roten didn't eat that straight bullet. Like, I'm not downgrading Tony Roten. Tony Roten was what he was. He was a process level player. And I fear that Sixers fans are overhyping a bunch of guys that are just process level players. Realistically speaking, only one player made anything of himself in the NBA from that squad. That was TJ McConnell. Mista says Ace Bailey's a great scorer. They are comparing him to Durant. His problem is he's soft, 6'11", and plays like a shooting guard. So we got 2 different opinions on Ace Bailey here. Now, I do know I see him getting mocked 2nd or 3rd overall. So that's that part of it. I don't know the other guys yet because I've watched 1 minute, not even, of college basketball this year. I see some Tracy McGrady in Ace. Oh, well, give me Ace Bailey right now. Tracy McGrady might have been the greatest what if in NBA history. If that guy would have been healthy throughout his career. I'm telling you, Tracy McGrady, if he would have stayed 100% healthy in his career, could have gone down as a top 10 NBA player of all time. I remember watching him as a rookie and being like, damn, this kid is special. See some James Harden and Dylan Harper. You know, something about James Harden popped up on my Facebook memory feeds the other day about a show, and I don't even remember what it was. But it made me think, like, damn, I wish we would have kept James Harden and not Paul George. Or, like, if you would have had the same thing happen with Joel Embiid that happened this year, but kept James Harden, not had Paul George on this team, and had Harden and Maxey, maybe McCain stays healthy, maybe he doesn't, would the Sixers team be better? It's actually a very good draft at the top. Fingers crossed we get that pick. I hate conspiracy theories. I hate having that conspiracy theorist way of myself, Dives. But deep down in my gut, I just don't know how the NBA lets us keep that pick. There's got to be a little part of your body or brain or mind that makes you think that they're going to rig this so we end up with the 7th pick and we get screwed. I'm just waiting for it. What is it? It's normally somewhere in the first round of the playoffs that they do the lottery. I'm just waiting for it. I have a saved tweet from years ago about rather keep Harden than signing Paul George. They're good. I mean, I was ready to move on from Harden because I was still blinded by what the Sixers were selling me. Now I'm not blinded. Now I see the light. I've been blinded by the light, and now I can see again. I'm going to become a preacher on here. I've opened my eyes. Daryl Morey, when James Harden says, I can't trust it, I'll never play for a Daryl Morey team again, I think I took Daryl Morey's side. Well, guess what? James Harden, I'm sorry, I was blinded by the light. I see the truth now. Big Al says, no Harden was no more the answer than George. Might be slightly better, but not by much. Well, he's got the Clippers playing pretty damn well this year. Kawhi Leonard's barely played basketball this year. James Harden's having a really strong year with the Clippers. So I would say James Harden's having a 10 times better season than Paul George this year. Without a doubt. Go look at the numbers. Go look at the records. Look at the games played. I disagree. Harden is such a better. Absolutely. Overall, big picture this year, we've been tricked and fooled by the Sixers for so long. And I feel bad for the reporters that got to cover the Sixers and try to sell a bill of goods. I feel bad for the young. I'm not going to name names, but there was one guy I saw tweeting out yesterday. I don't even know who he works for right now. He freelance writes for somebody for free. Putting together the potential lineup the Sixers are going to roll out next year because of Joel Embiid's surgery. Embiid, Bona, keeping Yabusele, putting Grimes in the starting lineup over McCain with Maxey and this and that, and tweeting out that this team's going to be unstoppable, and you're going to add a first-round pick to it. They're going to be unstoppable. Well, I hate to break it to you. You're lying to yourself. If you actually believe that that's going to happen, you are lying to yourself. Completely lying to yourself. And you're selling to your followers a false bill of goods. Just like the Sixers are selling us a false bill of goods. Selling your followers a false bill of goods. Then we would be stuck in we are stuck. We're not even stuck in mediocrity. Big Al right now with the Sixers. We are stuck. I don't even know what the word is I'm looking for, but it's not mediocrity. We're in quicksand, and we're going down fast. We struggled, and we're this deep. The quicksand's about to crush our chest. All right, that's how deep we are. Mechie Poe is in the house. What's up, my man? Wouldn't mind seeing the Eagles trade up a bit to draft Loveland out of Michigan. Dude's a beast of a tight end. I got a lot of tight end talk to do. I don't think the Eagles would trade up for a tight end, Rick. I wouldn't mind seeing it, but I don't see them doing that. But they've shocked us a lot lately, so maybe they do. I think Dallas Goedert will get traded. So one of the day 2 or day 3 of the draft. Dallas Goedert's going to get traded for a 5th-round pick, conditional to a 4th, if he plays X amount of games. That's what's going to happen. You signed Granson and what's the other guy's name? Bryant, cheaply. You still got Calcaterra. I think they go 2nd or 3rd round for a tight end. That's just my opinion. But again, Howie has shocked us before. You can't go into next season with the cap hit of Dallas Goedert. He's not going to take the pay cut that you want him to take to stay here. So Dallas Goedert will get traded. So you're going to have to draft a tight end. But I don't know if they'll trade up for it. I thought that you were done talking about, well, we are. Except for when there's breaking news that Joel Embiid is going into surgery. We've waited 6 months for this surgery. We're still waiting to find out what's wrong with the knee that they're repairing. It's okay. The show isn't called Phillies in the morning or Eagles in the AM. It's called Trending in the AM. And right now what's trending is the Sixers and Joel Embiid. And how much of an embarrassment, Mitchie Poo, they are. And how disrespectful to the fan base that has supported them for decades they are. What if Daryl Morey is so smart he didn't pay Harden and purposely made the Sixers horrible because he knew Cooper Flagg would be available? Problem is, we're not getting Cooper Flagg. There is literally less than a 1% chance that Cooper Flagg is a Sixer next year. Cooper Flagg is going number 1 overall. There is 0 chance, in my opinion, that the Sixers move up to number 1. Now, they do have a chance to get the 4th worst record in the NBA. We're only, like a game and a half behind the New Orleans Pelicans, but yeah, it's not happening. And Daryl Morey ain't smart. If Daryl Morey got Cooper Flagg, I would say he got him by accident. There's a chance they could be good next year if things fall correctly. It would shock me, and it would not shock me in the least. No, the Sixers aren't going to be good next year. Joel Embiid is toast, and Paul George is not what he used to be. Nick Nurse is not going. Nick Nurse has given up on this team. Daryl Morey won't know how to make the adjustment. I have zero faith. I would be shocked beyond belief if they were even remotely good next year. The NBA hates. This is so much hate that he cap locks this one. The NBA hates the Sixers, and they will keep us in the crowd middle unless we get a GM smart enough to pick and roll that front office. I love that. Absolutely. Arroyo out of Miami is a possibility on day 2. Yeah, there's quite a few good candidates for day 2 tight end drafts. I've mocked us a tight end second or third round every time I run a mock draft, just about, Rick. So I do like that idea, and he's one of the names I've seen there. You got him. You got the Bowling Green guy. You got the Texas guy. Names are escaping me at the second, but you know who I'm talking about. Drinks are on me if Howie figures out a way to keep Dallas Goedert on the roster. I don't like it. There's a way. You got to find a way to convince him to take a pay cut. And I don't know if he'll do it. So you got to trade him. And my opinion is he'll fetch you a 5th-round pick that if he plays X amount of games becomes a 4th-round pick. Plain and simple. That's what it is. Today's actually the anniversary of us talking about Hassan Reddick getting traded. Last year, is when Howie Roseman traded Hassan Reddick. So today's show last year was covering the Hassan Reddick trade. Do we get a Dallas Goedert trade today to celebrate? I don't know. The way Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni spoke about opportunities to make the team better by signing those guys, that we don't have updates on Dallas Goedert. He's a tremendous player. Getting out in front of the financial information, all the things that they've said about Dallas Goedert leads me to believe it's all but locked in stone that he is not going to be a Philadelphia Eagle next year. Loveland has some very Ertzy qualities. Is that now how we describe it? They got Ertzy qualities. I like that. I don't want Loveland. He has good hands, but he's not going to be great in the NFL. We got one no to Loveland. Goddard should not take a pay cut. He's still talented, but his availability has been very spotty. But also, how much money can you commit to a tight end when you've already committed how much money to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Saquon Barkley? Like, can you really have a top-paid tight end with those top-paid other positions? I don't know. That's the problem. Loveland won't be there in the 3rd. No. I would look at Helm. Helm's one of the names I've mocked to us. Arroyo has been. Ferguson maybe once or twice. Yeah, they're all possibilities. NBA will not allow the Sixers to get number 1 pick. I'd be shocked if they don't fix it to the Sixers' fault. No, I wouldn't be shocked either, Rick. I truly believe that the NBA is going to continue to screw the Sixers time in and time again. They're just going to keep doing it. Toast is greater than Joel Embiid. Burnt toast, like Isaiah Jenkins, Mitchie Poo. You're too young for Isaiah Jenkins. I'll take Isaiah Jenkins over Joel Embiid any day and Sunday. Disagree. Loveland going to be a really good NFL tight end. We won't know till we see. We will take an edge with 32 or trade 32 for future or more picks. You know, I originally thought that somebody would trade us a mini fortune so they could take Jackson or Dart, whatever his name is, at 32. Now I'm seeing people mocking Dart into like the mid to early 20s. So maybe somebody trades to take the 4th best quarterback at 32. I don't know. I think, Howie, draft night, we are going to be sitting live on the air and having to wait till pick 32 to find out what the Eagles are doing at 32. Whether they trade it out or pick there or trade out, it's going to be a last-second decision. Kind of like the Cooper DeJean trade last year, where it was like last second they were wheeling and dealing while they were on the clock. I see some JT Sanders and Colston Loveland, more of a move tight end. I think the Eagles are looking for a more inline tight end. And to be honest, Loveland doesn't really fit that mold. I think that's a fair question. What's the mold of a tight end that they want? With modern NFL, a good rounded tight end like Loveland with his physical talents will not be there at 32. Yeah, I don't think he'll be there at 32 either. Were you EOP this time? My last PSN show was the Friday before WrestleMania. Then the Monday after WrestleMania was my first EOP show. So I don't know what, it was sometime in April. And I don't remember when. I just remember my last show being our WrestleMania preview show for PSN. And then I immediately jumped on to EOP after that news. But now here I am on my own, the STT Sports Network. So guys, let's reset. You're watching Trend in the AM right here on my STT Sports Network. Hit that like and subscribe button, and please share the show out. Let's go. Loveland, a definite day one pick, absolutely no doubt. I expect Loveland to be drafted pretty high. After Tyler Warren, who was going to go high, it's a bit of a mixed bag. You know what we're going to do one of these days? We're going to do a mock draft in the first round. Not an Eagles mock draft, just a 32-pick mock draft. Just go player by player for round one. People said Zach Ertz couldn't block, but how'd that turn out? That's true. It's a fair point. Dallas Goedert wasn't a good blocker at first either. You should check out Cooper Jean's little brother. Plays wide receiver and D-back. He is committed to Iowa. He's 6'5", and could convert to tight end. Wow. Look at that. The genes run deep in that family, mister. There's some athletes, okay? First EOP show was Monday of the draft week. There we go. So I wasn't quite at EOP. I was still at PSN at that point. Just means we won't see him for 3 years. My one concern on Loveland is how he sometimes telegraphs what route he is going to basically run, but that could be coached away. It's a shame that we can't find a way to keep Dallas Goedert, but you know what? I think it's the right thing to move on to one of these guys in the draft. I was reading Martin Frank's number, basically the way how he wrote his contract out. He's got an almost $12 million cap hit this upcoming year. You got to get off from that. In 2026, if he's still on the team this year, in 2026, there's a $23 million cap hit. So you got to move on from Dallas Goedert to save that cap money. And that's all we heard about all week at the league meetings. Getting out in front of it, i.e. the money that is owed to all the big names already signed, all the money owed to all the great draft picks that Howie's hit on the last years. We never had this problem with the salary cap when Howie Roseman was missing on draft picks. For the last 4 or 5 years, he's hit on so many damn draft picks. Now we've got to make tough decisions. And although Dallas Goedert is well-loved, by me included, unfortunately, Dallas Goedert is the extra commodity that we can move on from and not miss much of a beat. Go look at the Eagles' record over the last couple of years when Lane Johnson misses a game. It's pretty dreadful. Go look at the record when Dallas Goedert misses games. It's not that bad. So to me, Dallas Goedert's a great tight end when healthy. Can't help the club from the tub, though. And on top of all that, we still find ways to win and succeed when he's not out there. Yeah, the blocking at the line might not be perfect. Certain things might not be right. But Dallas Goedert is easier to move on from than, say, somebody else on the team. Tight end is replaceable. How many Super Bowls outside the Chiefs have been won with an uber over-the-top tight end? Only 2 of them. You got Gronkowski and you got Kelsey. Outside of that, you can win a Super Bowl without an elite tight end. You can. So it's a commodity. When you've got 2 elite wide receivers, when maybe you have the greatest wide receiver tandem in football, when you've got the greatest running back in football, you can move on from them. The splits with and without were stunning, but I think that since has been evened out. It might have been, I do vaguely remember talking about that, Nooms, at some point this past season, that the splits were leveling out a little bit with Lane Johnson. But I think that goes too because you have such a talented team. But the splits with Dallas Goedert are stunning in the opposite direction. You can win without Dallas Goedert. I love Dallas Goedert. I don't want to see Dallas Goedert go. But I'm not paying a $30 million, a 30-year-old tight end who misses 3 to 5 games every year, 11, 12, $13 million. It's not doing it. It's not necessary. I mean, we keep talking about Jalen Carter's contract extension. That's coming up at some point. You got to make a decision on Jordan Davis. You got Cam Jurgens that's got a contract extension that's due. Well, what about Nakobe Dean's contract extension that could be signed? What about next offseason? Nolan Smith's going to be up for a contract extension. So where it's about Jalen Carter next year, it's about Cam Jurgens, Nakobe Dean, Nolan Smith, and Jalen Carter. There's 4 young studs this year and next year that need extensions. Now Goddard's an easy way to move on. Ertz has had a long NFL career because he avoids contact. He doesn't block or run through tackles. I don't want another Ertz. This Eagles team is dominating because of the physicality, not finesse. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what Zach Ertz is now. I mean, I don't want to take away anything from Zach Ertz, mister. I mean, he did set the record for most catches in a season for a tight end, right? A few years back with the Eagles. I mean, Zach Ertz is arguably the greatest tight end in Eagles history. How do I say this? Big part of us obviously winning our first Super Bowl, but I'm trying to put my Zach Ertz words here. But anyway, you get it. You know, I didn't expect him to continue to succeed in Arizona and Washington. I will say that. Ertz went down faster than What's up, Freddie Burns? Eagles won a Super Bowl with Zach Ertz and was a huge reason we didn't lose. Yeah, I get that. I'm not trying to say, but was Zach Ertz on the level? Well, maybe he was on the level of a Gronk and a Kelsey at one point, or at least close. We're not giving Ertz hate. There's no hate whatsoever here. We're just trying to discuss Dallas Goedert, and we moved on from Zach Ertz pretty easily. I don't think there's any hate going Zach Ertz's way. I think you're misunderstanding the conversation. Nolan gets extended. Jordan and Nakobe don't, in your opinion. Excellent question, comment, point of discussion. Nolan Smith will absolutely get extended. How much determines on how good he is next year. Jordan Davis, I think they are going to try to trade him on the draft. If they don't, then I don't know what they do with him. They got till May 2nd to figure out his 5th year. Nakobe Dean's an interesting one to me. I think there's an argument that you extend him now while he's injured at a cheaper price. Okay, Juan. You go to Nakobe and be like, look, let's do a 2-year extension. See if you're healthy. You get some stability in case you're not healthy, and we get 2 years to determine you. If you can rebound from that devastating injury. I don't want Nakobe Dean going into next year as a lame duck linebacker. I don't want him going in on a contract year. I want some form of an extension. Jordan Davis, I don't know what you do. I know we've talked Jordan Davis multiple times. I don't know what you do with him. I don't know how you make the decision on Jordan Davis. I don't know how you let him go. I don't know how you trade him. But I also don't know how you pay him. I don't know how you pick up his 5th-year option at almost $13 million. I think Jordan Davis might be the most difficult decision Howie has to make or has compared to what he's made already and what he's got to make this offseason. Jordan Davis is the most difficult one of them all. Ertz didn't have lots of yards after first contact, that is for sure. No yak for Zach. Look at you trying to rhyme this morning. You can't be weak up the middle. Dean and Davis are some very interesting cases. I would rather keep Nakobe Dean. I've been a Nakobe Dean fan since his college days. Love an undersized linebacker that makes plays. And I've been a huge Jordan Davis fan and supporter because he's just such a physical specimen. But that doesn't mean he's the right fit here. And if they don't trade him on draft day, what they do on draft day will help lean us to figure out what they're going to do with him in the future. Just in time for a Barkley to retire and add some salary cap space for Little Dijon. Oh, well, we're back to the Cooper DeJean's Little Dijon. Gotcha. I keep Nakobe Dean. I try to find a way to extend him now. But people only want to talk about the Jalen Carter extension. I mean, think about Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith kind of burst on the scene last year in his 2nd year after everyone called him a bust after his 1st year, except for me. If Nolan Smith continues to rise in his career trajectory, his career arc keeps going up, okay? Think of it this way. Josh Sweat, while he played great in the Super Bowl, should have been the Super Bowl MVP. Josh Sweat is very replaceable. Josh Sweat got nearly $80 million from the Cardinals. Josh Sweat has had debilitating knee injury that almost ended his career. Josh Sweat is 28, 29 years old, whatever it may be. Nolan Smith will be what? 24? Nolan Smith, younger, healthier. I know he had the shoulder injury his rookie year. I'm not saying Nolan Smith's going to get $80 million next offseason extension. But if Nolan Smith improves upon last year, Nolan Smith's going to be due a huge payday as well. So not just Jalen Carter. There's a chance that you have to give out $60 million a year to two players in Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter next offseason. So all of that couples into this all goes back to Dallas Goedert and what you got to do with Dallas Goedert. But since Bond and Carter get the bag first, it would be time for some creativity. Yeah. And I think that's where the creativity comes in with Jordan Davis. Tough. What have we heard all offseason, Nooms? Tough decisions are coming. The toughest decision is Jordan Davis. If somebody offered you a third-round pick right now for Jordan Davis, would you take it so you don't have to pay him that fifth year? I'm thinking a third-round pick is where it becomes a difficult decision. He still brings value. He's still young, still controllable technically. And K1, you're absolutely right. This is why he fell to the third round. K1 says to us, listen, and Nakobe is like Goddard. How do you trust him to stay healthy? Goddard's 30. Nakobe Dean's what? 24, 23? I don't even know how old he is. He's young. And he did stay healthy all of last year until the very end. Sucks. I don't know how you trust him to stay healthy. But that's maybe where you can find a way to keep him cheaper. Maybe because of that. Like Dallas Goedert, 30 years old, he ain't staying cheap anywhere. He knows what his value is on the open market. Nakobe Dean doesn't know that yet. Nakobe Dean, you cut Nakobe Dean right now, somebody's not going to sign Nakobe Dean to some massive contract. The difference between Dean and Goddard is their value. Their self-value. What they know they could get. I would much rather keep Nakobe Dean over Dallas Goedert. Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond showed to have very good chemistry in the linebacker department last year. I'd hate to have him come into the year on the last year of his deal and have that there. I've said it before. If you got Nakobe Dean trying to do a little too much because he's got a free agent contract coming up at the end of the season, sometimes mistakes can happen. Sometimes injuries can happen with that. Sometimes you push yourself from injuries and hurt yourself worse. I don't know. Turns 20, so he's 24. I figured he was about 24. So he'll be 25 in December. I don't know. And you don't even have to pay Ertz $15 to go down like a, oh my God. Man. Hookers always come into the conversation. Anyway, normally Mitchie Poo is the one that brings up the dirty jokes. But anyway. Here's the thing. We started talking Sixers. We dabbled in the Phillies, and now we're on to the Eagles. The thing is, the Sixers, they got loads of tough decisions to make, right? We don't trust the Sixers to make those decisions. The Eagles have massive tough decisions. Jordan Davis, Dallas Goedert, maybe Nakobe Dean to make. I trust Howie Roseman to make those decisions. Trust that whatever he does, whether we like it or not, will work out. That he's got the best interest of the team and the fans in mind. I don't believe that with Daryl Morey and the Sixers. I'm on the fence on it with the Philadelphia Phillies. But the Eagles have earned our trust. The Sixers have not. The Eagles are honest with us. The Sixers just lie blatantly to our face. Yeah, there's going to be some tough decisions. We're going to have to cut or trade or get rid of players that you like. We're just warning you now. It eases the frustration on Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Or whatever. The Sixers, we'll see in 6 weeks what we want to do. Give us another 6 weeks. Hey, maybe Maxey might play games 81. So come on out to the Wells Fargo Center. Maybe we'll play him one more game. When they're not playing him. Or they shouldn't be playing. Hell, the Sixers trotted out Kyle Lowry the other night for 15 minutes. Probably because they knew they were too good at winning or too much of a chance to win. So let's throw Kyle Lowry out there and handshake. You're going to help us lose here a little bit. It's such night and day between the Sixers and the Eagles and how business is done. And it's a shame. Because let's be honest, we have poured a lot of energy into the Sixers organization. Phillies organization, Flyers organization, Eagles. We pour all our hearts and energy into all our sports teams. And have one team in our city so blatantly, obviously not care about us. Like the Sixers. It's frustrating. Ertz is probably the best tight end in Eagles history and a huge reason the Eagles won their first Super Bowl. Absolutely. I think I said that already. I mean, greatest tight ends in Eagles history. Zach Ertz. Maybe Brent Selleck's in the conversation. Maybe Keith Jackson's in the conversation. We weren't really blessed with lots of great tight ends in our history. A lot of good tight ends, but not many great tight ends. Mark Bavaro. Remember the 1 year Mark Bavaro spent here? I still remember Keith Jackson as a kid. I thought I heard Coach mention Nakobe Dean at the media day. Maybe the reports that I've heard, now that it has been confirmed, and I didn't hear what the coach had to say. I must have missed that one. I'll have to try to look that one up, but the early reports are that he's healing quicker than expected, which is good. That they expect him to be able to play by week 1. I think that's a stretch. But they are hoping Nakobe Dean can play. Ertz was more finesse than brawn. Okay. Just came back on. Sorry. No, it's all good, man. Oh, we're all good, Rick. We're all good. It's all good. People come and go. Ertz didn't need to be brawn. No, he did not. Chad Lewis, come on now. Chad Lewis was great, but not really. He was really good. And that was the thing with Eagles tight ends. You can name a lot of Chad Lewis's and Brent Selleck's, Keith Jackson's. I think Keith Byers eventually transitioned to tight end as well. You can name a lot of those guys. What was that one guy? L.J. Smith or what was it? Was it L.J. Smith? A lot of good guys. Not many great. Chad Lewis good, but he was nobody was. Mike Ditka, greatest tight end in Eagles history, baby. As a lifelong Sixers fan, what's happened to this franchise is heartbreaking, and I'm really pissed. Chet, you have the right to be pissed, and that's the point of this here. When you look at the Eagles and the Sixers, and you can throw the Phillies in there as well, the Sixers are just so blatantly disrespectful to the fans that have been supporting them for so long. This Joel Embiid news isn't news because they haven't given us any news. They just give blatant blanket statements that are so open-ended can be interpreted by everybody. There is no transparency. Great interview, by the way, with Paul Hagan yesterday. I watched that whole part of the show yesterday. Great insight from Paul Hagan on Philly Press Box Radio. You guys catch Chet's the replay of Philly Press Box Radio in the YouTube page there. Paul Hagan, MLB Hall of Fame writer. Make sure you check it out, guys. You have the right to be pissed off. You have the right to be heartbroken. You have the right to all of that. Because it's pathetic what they did, what they do, how they treat us, how they lie to our faces. And my fear, as the star of the show I brought up, Chet, is that they're just going to run it back. And they're going to tell us, well, we got the knee fix, so Joel will be fine. And Paul George will be healthy, and Maxey will be healthy, and McCain will be back. We're going to be good. And then 1 week before the season, October 1st, they're going to be like, well, Joel Embiid's still ramping up from surgery. And it's going to be the same song and dance again next year. I don't trust Daryl Morey. I don't trust Josh Harris. We get pushed to get Daryl Morey fired, but we can't push this. There's no way that Josh Harris is selling the team. What's going to happen is Daryl Morey is going to fire Elton Brand and maybe Nick Nurse. He's going to fire technically the GM Elton Brand. And that's going to be the reset that this team needs. There's going to be minuscule changes to this team and organization. And we're going to be here next year talking again about how dreadful the Sixers are. It's going to be a broken record. Unless you take that record off the record player, the same broken record is going to continue to be broken. Little John Smith was wasted talent. It was L.J. Smith, right? I thought it was L.J. Smith. That guy, wasn't he like a second or third round pick? We've had a lot of hyped tight ends, so to speak. Chad Lewis is still in the older mode of tight end where it's block first, then catching. Ertz was on the new tight end model, catching tight end, who can block. Unfair comparison. Well, we're not necessarily comparing them directly. We're just talking about how average the tight end position. Like saying Zach Ertz is the greatest Eagles tight end of all time, sure. But the drop-off after that is pretty drastic. Sixers are your typical marketing-driven, fact-omitting, perception-enslaved organization. I think it's a perfect way to describe the Sixers, Nooms. It really is. I mean, you're not wrong here. I'd venture to say that it's like you got a pencil pusher running the team or owning the team. Like you got a guy owning the team that cares about his P&L statement at the end of the year, and that's it. Flyers better get the next head coach hire right, or they're going to be fed. They will need their version of Andy Reid, a culture changer. Still haven't gotten an answer who that guy should be. Do you want a guy that's new, fresh? Do you want the Flyers to hire a coach, like an assistant coach off of a Stanley Cup contending team? Do you want a vet that's already coached teams to the playoffs? Me personally, I'm looking for the young assistant from another team. I don't know who. I don't even have a list of guys yet. But I'm looking at assistants that are 50 or under 50 years old, in their mid-40s. Assistants from deep run playoff teams. I'm giving them their first head coaching job here. That's what I'm doing if I'm the Flyers. Don't know who, but that's what I'm doing. That's too many truths in one phrase. That's way too many truths. My mind is spinning with how many truths he dropped. But it's the truth. The truths are making me spin, but they are the truths. There's no doubt about that. Briere should be doing his homework right now like the Eagles did when they found Reed. Yeah. And look, I don't know why, but the Flyers I've given the Flyers a little bit of leeway, a little bit of breathing room, because at least the Flyers have been honest with us, Rick. The Flyers haven't told us anything other than that the goal was to start contending in 2026, and that's what they're still building towards. They haven't lied to us and said, we're a playoff team now, we're gonna do this or that. No. They've been honest with us. So that honesty, while not good, like honesty in the sense where exciting honesty, that truthfulness has given them a pass in my book till next year. Now next year will be the big movement. We need to see movement from this Flyers team next year. So I have a little bit of confidence because of the honesty that Briere is doing his homework, that Briere already has 5 or 6 names that he's written down, that they're his top 5 candidates to be the next coach of the Flyers. Sixers, no trust. The Eagles, loads of trust. The Flyers, I'm debating who I have more trust in right now, the Flyers or the Phillies. Probably the Phillies. It's probably Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, Sixers. I'd throw the Union and the Wings ahead of the Sixers, too. You give the Flyers breathing room because they seem to have a plan. Head coach being unwilling is a speed bump, but still a plan in place. Exactly. We have faith because of their honesty. Because they've told us to an extent what their plan is. The Sixers don't tell us anything. The Sixers just lie to our face over and over and over and over and over again. Flyers ain't honest. They just ain't good at their jobs. Over the past 5 years or so, the Sixers are a better I don't know about that. I don't know. Maybe over the last 6 years, maybe. Over the last 2 or 3 years, the Flyers are a better organization. I have more trust in the Wooder Dogs. Are they even still a team? Haven't heard anything about that team in a while. Than the Sixers. Everybody. The Fox's Pizza Den team is better than the Sixers. So they ain't saying much. This franchise officially ended when Simmons didn't take the layup. We could just pray for basketball Messiah can resurrect. Mm-hmm. There's only one person in this year's draft that could be that resurrector. And we ain't getting them because Cooper Flagg ain't going to be there for us. Look, I'm not looking at the wins and losses, Rick, for the Flyers versus the Sixers. I'm looking at the transparency, okay? I knew and know the Flyers were going to stink the last couple years. The Sixers told us they were going to win a title, when in reality they never had a chance. The Flyers didn't tell us they were going to be great. They told us there's going to be some speed bumps. Ron Rivera, John Harbaugh, Sean McDermott were good assistants to have, and Ray Rhodes rarely gets some credit for bringing those dudes in. Yeah, Ray Rhodes, man. Look at that. I didn't know we were going to get a Ray Rhodes hype comment today. Yeah, I know they've been a playoff team, but realistically, they never had a chance. Okay? When I'm talking about I trust the Flyers more, I'm not saying that they're a better. They've had more wins and losses. I'm saying they've been honest with us. They told us they were going to lose. They told us they were going to stink. It's the same reason why I enjoyed the Hinkie version of the Sixers more than the Morey. Because at least Hinkie was like, yo, we've got a plan. We're building to something. The Flyers are building to something. Morey tells us this is a great team. This team is going to win. We're going to tweak this or tweak that, and we're going to win. I appreciate transparency. See, I disagree, Rick. I think the Flyers have been very open and honest with what they are trying to do. They're trying to – they're basically being run by Hinkie, acquiring draft picks and young talent, hoping to land a star in the draft or in a trade, and that's what they're doing. Now, the coaching situation has to be addressed. But that's it. This team's got the assets to hopefully hit on some of them. I disagree. The Flyers or the Sixers have no clue. I think the Sixers have less of a clue of what they're doing than the Flyers. The Sixers have zero clue. As long as Josh Harris gets his paycheck, as long as Josh Harris has the value of the Sixers continue to rise, that's all that matters. Got a lot of draft picks over the next couple of years, a lot of them. We don't need an outside perspective. My Ed Snyder tells you all you need to know why the Flyers are where they are. Deep down, they show change, but really recycle Hextall, Briere, etc. So I want somebody from outside the organization as the next head coach, too. And, yeah, I get the Hextall and Briere bringing in the former guys, Jonesy, etc. I get that. And that's why I want somebody from the outside. Sixers have at least two assets. Flyers have – the Sixers, yeah, they have two assets. But they also have a lot of cinder blocks weighing them down. How many cinder blocks are weighing the Flyers down? How many Joel Embiid and Paul George contracts do the Flyers have? They're just going to hold them back. Tell me that. You are definitely in the minority in this one, Rick. You are. And just like you think I'm in the just like we disagree on the Phillies. We might agree on the Sixers. We might agree on the Eagles. But we're definitely on opposite ends of the spectrum with the Flyers and the Phillies. It's just the way it is. But it's all good. That's what sports debate is about. We debate it because we disagree. Ray Rhodes drafted Dawkins, Bobby Taylor also. He was a great defensive mind. But have you noticed Laurie has refused to hire a defense coordinator head coach since? Yeah. I just think it's not just Jeffrey Laurie that doesn't want very few defensive coordinator head coaches in the NFL, period. Ray Rhodes at least did something that Buddy Ryan, a defensive coordinator coach, didn't do, and that was win a playoff game. He also, Ray Rhodes, his success only became because he had an MVP quarterback in Rodney MVP. Now, Now, the Ray Rhodes era was an interesting era for me. I was just old enough to really, I was like, what, 14, 15. I was right in my prime of understanding football as a kid, as a teenager. It was just after the Reggie White, Randall Cunningham era. It was a transitional period in Eagles history. We don't get the Andy Reid era without the Ray Rhodes era. Very interesting. Is today Bernie Prawn's birthday? I did not know that. Happy birthday to Bernie, one of the nicest guys out there, one of the greatest goaltenders ever. The Flyers' greatest goaltender ever, maybe the greatest Flyer ever, right there with Bobby Clark, and a guy that was so genuinely nice to me when I randomly bumped into him. Good friend of a friend of this show, Jason Lee, and Bernie Prawn are very close. So you know, I love how Jason Lee loves to throw out that he got to be on Bernie Prawn's boat with him a few times. Like I said, at least the Sixers prior to this season were a consistent playoff team. Flyers ain't. Being a consistent playoff team with no real chance at winning a title is no different than missing the playoffs. He had a great eye for talent. Yes. An abysmal head coach. He had an eye for talent, but an abysmal head coach. My favorite Ray Rhodes line, Charlie Garner needs to learn to play with pain. Tell me how you really feel, Ray. Charlie Garner. I didn't think we were going to be talking about Ray Rhodes today. I sure didn't think that we were going to talk about Charlie Garner. Wasn't he part of Thunder and Lightning? There's a nickname from our running back duo past. Rhodes was a better head coach than Buddy Ryan. He won a playoff game. Buddy Ryan did. Buddy Ryan had more talent, and Ray Rhodes won the playoff game. Better record, but no playoff success. Again, Buddy Ryan did not have Rodney Peete, though. That's probably why. Because, great quarterbacks win playoff games, This game. Where does Rodney Peete rank in the echelon of greatest Eagles quarterback? Well, he's got more playoff wins than Randall Cunningham, so, maybe. Just saying. Now we're just trolling. All right, we're coming up to the final 5 minutes here, guys. You don't know suffering until you live through. I always talk about it, the old great sports debate. I was watching a replay of it like 10 years ago, and it was the day after they fired Buddy Ryan. It was filmed. And so we're talking early 90s, and you had all the cast of WIPers on there debating whether Rich Kotite or an outside source should be the next head coach. And some of them couldn't wait to have Rich Kotite, and some of them said he'd be a buffoon and the worst of all time. And I forget who said what, but man, that was an interesting watch when I watched that. Ray Rhodes' greatest quote: 2 things in this league will get you fired: potential and the prevent defense. I don't remember these quotes, but that's a great quote, man. I love that. I knew I loved Ray Rhodes for a reason. I knew it. All right, so what's on dock tomorrow? What's today? Today's Thursday, right? Yeah. Damn. This week's flying by. Couple have asked for it, so we'll bring it back. We'll do Trending in the AM mock draft 3.0 tomorrow. We're going to continue this Eagles discussion about Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, and their extensions. We're going to look at the draft. We're going to see what they're going to do with the draft. That's what we'll start with. We'll obviously talk Phillies, whatever happens with Tyjuan Walker today at 1 o'clock. Did the Phillies release their lineup yet? Let's see. It is a 1 o'clock game, so maybe we've got a lineup out there. No lineup yet has been released, so we don't have that. But, yeah, we'll talk Phillies. We'll talk Eagles. Maybe the Sixers will come up again. Doubtfully. Hopefully not. But please, guys, whatever you're doing, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Please go out there and share. Dude, come on. 18 subscribers. We start the show away from 500. Please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. Back in the day when head coach had their own TV shows, I was just thinking about the Ray Rhodes show. Phils will win the World Series. Yeah, maybe. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. We won't know for like another 6 months. But it's going to be a 6-month battle, Rick, between me and you on that one. But it is what it is, guys. So anyway, with that being said, let's get ready to wrap this shebang up here for the day. Ray Rhodes won Coach of the Year, and Sirianni can't even get nominated. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Angelo's gone. Yeah, Angelo, It's tough for me to discuss Angelo because as a kid, as a young man in high school, I loved the dude. Idolized the dude. Wanted to be him. Actually, even growing up, I started trending in the AM because of Angelo Cataldi. Then Angelo Cataldi ghosted me on coming on this show because he started doing work with Dan Simpleman and some other channels and PHYLPYL, so he ghosted me. So you know what? You're dead to me, Angelo. You're dead to me, Cataldi. But anyway, but he was a legend. Was great at one point. Revolutionized sports talk radio. So I give him credit for how special he is. But outside of that, a little annoying. Anyway, guys, Cataldi was the worst. The reason Philly teams didn't win anything till his gun, he was bad luck. I don't know about that. That's just you saying talking negative brings about negative results. No. Talent brings around good results. Bad talent does not. Anyway, we got to wrap this up. Anyway, I don't want to get into a Angelo Cataldi conversation here. But anyway, we're back tomorrow. Eagles, Phillies, hopefully no Sixers, maybe no Flyers. But that's that. Yeah, someone does. Yeah, absolutely. There was one more comment. Knows when Cataldi left, they started with, maybe. I like Angelo because he's honest about being a weasel. Yeah, he knows what he is. He knows he became a cartoon character of himself. Anyway, don't want to get into that. Anyway, guys, we're wrapping this up. Like, share, subscribe. Find me a new subscriber for tomorrow. Let me know tomorrow that you got somebody to subscribe. We'll see. Everybody have a great Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow. As always, go Birds. Bubbles up.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 pop.